Hi, welcome back to Second Act Simplified. This January, we're focusing on a theme I'm calling Start Again Strong. Over the last few episodes, we've talked about noticing what's changing and understanding the season that you're in. Once you've done all that, a very natural question comes about. What do I do now? Today's episode is about what to ask before you kn- Today's episode is about what to ask before you make your next move. If you need clarity, it comes from asking better questions. Before we dive in, if this show has been helpful to you, make sure you follow or subscribe wherever you listen. If you leave a quick review, it really helps other women follow the conversation. All right, let's dive in. First, we're going to focus why the urge to decide feels so strong. Once you feel like something that you're doing doesn't fit or is out of place, it's really tempting to just jump right in and make a change. We're often taught that momentum equals progress, or decisiveness is confidence. Hesitation means you're afraid. But in this season of life, that isn't always true. Sometimes you need to hesitate before you make a change so that you're prepared. If you feel an urge to make a decision really quickly, it's worth asking yourself, am I choosing this because I'm clear? If you're not clear, I wouldn't make a final choice. Are you uncomfortable with not knowing? Part two, reflection is not procrastination. I think a lot of us struggle with this. Procrastination avoids the truth, and reflection is how you get the truth to come to the surface. If you've spent a lot of time meeting expectations, holding things together, being dependable, your instinct might be, hey, just decide something and move on. That's reasonable. But if you're trying to come up with a clear plan, it's not going to happen under pressure. You need to be honest with yourself about where you're at and where you want to go. You need to take that time to understand what is really driving your desire to make a change. These questions can create real clarity. So instead of asking, what should I do next? Try some of these questions. Here's a few I want you to focus on. What am I hoping this decision will fix? Sometimes we're looking for relief and not direction. What would staying the same cost me over the next year? This one's powerful. When you think about that, it may not be just an emotional cost, but what energy would be changed or what energy would be spent? What would staying the same cost me over the next year? What feels like relief, not excitement? What would I choose if no one else had an opinion? And I love that. This is really something that can be powerful because it tells you where you're really at. If you don't have anybody else filtering in opinions, what do you really think? One of the most helpful distinctions at this stage to make is understanding, are you making an ego driven decision or an aligned decision? Ego driven decisions sound like, I should be doing this by now. This would look really good. This would prove something to so and so. Aligned decisions don't feel like that. They come from steadiness, even if you're not 100% sure. Being aligned, you're not going to feel rushed. You're going to feel pretty solid. If you are listening for the first time, I've talked about my second act Pathfinder in other episodes. This is really helpful to find the patterns. If you've already used my second act Pathfinder, this is a good time to go back and take a look at the results because you've already identified what has shifted, what is draining you, and what supports you. The goal here now is to name direction and take notice of the themes. At this stage, the goal isn't to act on all of it. The goal is to name direction. So notice the themes that are coming up. Is your energy constantly going up or down? Make sure you lean into the results of your second act Pathfinder. Before you make a next move, try this. Instead of doing anything new, commit to noticing for a week. Notice what drains you, notice what gives you a sense of relief, and what keeps coming back in the back of your mind over and over again. You don't need to act yet, you're just gathering information. That's not standing still. That's helping you make the best next decision. If you're sitting with these questions and feeling both ready and unsure at the same time, that's not a contradiction. That's all part of the process. Being ready means you're prepared to move ahead thoughtfully. In the next episode, we're going to talk about what comes after this moment. What do you do? What do you what do you do once you decide you're ready? And how to recognize what your first move really is going to be. Don't self sabotage yourself by rushing to the start. This is where your confidence is going to kick in and you're going to make one small decision at a time. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And I'll talk to you next week. Thanks.